Hey you guys, it's Jim Warrior, and I'm here again to make another video in a series that I've been doing just sporadically, as I do everything, um, called Discovering Your Dark Emotions, which is a playlist that I've created, and I'll link it down below the playlist. There's currently 2 videos in it. I just made another one actually not that long ago, a few days ago, my second one, which was about fear and giving birth to your fear, allowing your fear to exist and acknowledging your fear. And then the first video was on pain and dealing with pain that people put on you. Um, and today, I'm feeling a little nervous and a little uneasy because we're going to talk about a topic that I'm still currently in, like a dark emotion that I'm currently really inhabiting. Lessons that I'm still learning from it. But I felt that it was important to go ahead and give voice to them, to the struggles and to my experiences with this emotion or emotional reaction. Because it'll, in a way, making this video will kind of help me learn and deal with said emotion. So the emotion, and if you keep getting distracted, it's my cat's fault. As you can see, he's jumping all over anywhere he wants to go, even the altar space, and I think he's gonna burn his tail. He just jumped down because he burned his tail. Are you okay? Anyway, life. So today we're gonna talk about disgust. Oh my god. Disgust. And how it influences us, and of course the pagan approach to dealing with disgust. So, I told you I'm like very much like still in this emotion right now, so it's like, how do I talk about this without getting ridiculous? So disgust. um, Disgust serves, again, like all of these dark emotions, disgust serves a purpose. There are different kinds of disgust. There's disgust to like food and things like that. Actually, I made some notes and I'm going to bring them up. It might change the lighting drastically. Yes, it did. But disgust. There are different kinds of disgust. They're like domains of disgust. There's, like disgust of food. There's disgust of like bodily secretions that can make us disgusted. There's like signs of infection that make you disgusted, like pathogen disgust, I think is actually what it's actually called. Death and decay can be disgusting. Blood, gore, mutilation, sadism, masochism. Certain kind of animals can make us feel disgusted, like maggots and worms and flies, cockroaches, even rats and mice, which is ridiculous because you guys know I love the rodent family. They're huge power totems for me. So yeah, there's that kind of disgust, which is like, very obvious, like why you're disgusted by that. It's because, oh, this food tastes nasty. I don't almost said disgusting. And I don't want it. I don't like it. It tastes bad. That's why I'm disgusted. I don't want to look at this rotting corpse on the side of the road, like this rotting animal, because that's disgusting. I don't want to look at maggots moving around because that's disgusting. Like for me, especially. Ugh, I grossed myself out by even thinking about that just now. And those all serve purposes, like biological purposes, to keep you safe from contamination. Like disgust, in that sense, evolved inside of us to keep us going as a species, to keep you from getting sick. Like you're disgusted by dead animals because that's your body saying, "Don't eat that. You're gonna get sick. Don't eat it." Like these are like triggers to keep you safe. So disgust definitely has its place. But since we have this frontal lobe, which has made us so smart, and able to create all this stuff, it's also allowed us to think and think and think and create these concepts that aren't physical as well. like a wider range of emotions. And in doing so, it's created a kind of like non-physical disgust. So, which includes like gender disgust. People can be disgusted with people of other genders, which I know sounds absurd, but they can. There's like religious disgust, taboo disgust. So like incest, inbreeding, child abuse, etc., etc. Those can cause you to feel disgusted. Like people who avoid social norms and like break out of social norms, that can be disgusting. So you get the point. You all know what disgust is because we all feel it. We've all felt disgusted at some point by something or someone. And what I want to talk about is being disgusted by someone. Because it's easy to be disgusted, like I said in the beginning of this, by stuff and by things and by even like lesser animals. But what happens when you're disgusted with a person? What happens when you're disgusted with that person for doing something that you disagree with? What happens if you're disgusted with a person that has already done something in the past? It's over, but you're disgusted with their past behavior, even though it has nothing to do with the present. Obviously, this isn't my problem. Like, what do you do? How do you address it? How do you move past it? There are two really, really, really fantastic books on this subject. And the first one is The Hydra's Tale. Hang on, let me get you the author because I had it written down. The Hydra's Tale, Imagining Disgust by Robert Rawdon Wilson. That's a really good book. It's a little stuffy because he is a professor and he writes it kind of textbookish, but it is really good. He talks about the evolution of disgust and like facial expressions that mean disgust, and he talks about how some animals show disgust, like rats. And he talks about like the purpose of disgust, really. Why does it exist? And then the other book, which I urge you to check out, I mean honestly, is The Subtlety of Emotions by I know I'm going to say this incorrectly, so by Aaron Ben Zeev. I've always said Zeev, but that book is it's a huge game changer for me. It's amazing. It's got every single emotion you can think of, even things that I didn't think were emotions in it. And it's really, really good. It's really good. I'm looking at the cover right now. It's just super good. And you really owe it to yourself to check it out at least, you know? I'm also going to link down below, I'll link below a link to The Hydra's Tale, and I'll put a link to The Subtlety of Emotions. But I'm also going to put a link to a really wonderful article on psychologytoday.com, which is also a magazine. An amazing magazine, Psychology Today. And anyway, they took an excerpt from The Subtlety of Emotions. I don't know, a few years ago. I had it brought up. 6 years ago. They did an excerpt from that book. I think that's probably when it was coming out. But they did an excerpt, and that's how I found the book. And it was awesome. It's a really good one about disgust from that book, talking about disgust. And the article is called, Darling, Are You Disgusted by Me? Disgust is often based upon prejudices. So, it's really good. I'll link that below as well. So you can kind of get a feel of what the book is like. And, you know, to kind of get his views on disgust and see if they jive with you. But, disgust is, to me, like an infection. You can not know it's there, and it can still be working on you internally. Disgust can be kind of guiding your life and guiding your reactions to things and people, and you don't even know it. Until one day, it's this, like, all-consuming force, this infection, telling you how to treat a person. I have treated people very badly because of disgust. I think I'm gonna put my hair up because I'm playing with it way too much. But I've treated people really shitty because I was disgusted with them or their behavior. And again, most of the time it was stuff that had already happened that they couldn't control. Like, they couldn't. It was stuff they had already done in their past that they felt like they could share with me. We were having this intimate moment, and I felt like they could share something with me that they weren't proud of. And I didn't always react in the best way. I shamed them for it. Which is ridiculous because they've already, I'm sure, shamed themselves enough for this behavior. That's why they haven't told anyone and why they're deciding to share it with you or with me in this instance. And so I think that when you feel like sharing your bad behaviors with someone, or your self-disgust, or your self-loathing, or whenever you decide to share darkness with a person, that's a way of showing the other person that you really accept them and that you really value them. So I think you, as the receiver of this outpouring of secret emotion, really owe it to them, and to yourself, but to them, to be as compassionate and as open as possible. But again, how do you do that when the things that they have told you about are disgusting to you? It's disgusting behavior. For me, I guess I always give an actual example of my life in these videos. Like, I speak very blatantly, and so I guess I'll just do it. But, so, my boyfriend, that I've been in a relationship with for 3 years now, he told me when we first got together, this has been ruminating for like 3 years, I just have not been able to let it go. And so finally this year I've been really, really trying to analyze why I have such an attachment to this and am releasing it. And since I've actually really started to, that's why I felt like I needed to make the video. Because I'm like, wow, actually I'm getting somewhere with this. I need to share this. So when we first got together 3 years ago, my boyfriend told me about some stuff that he had done in his past. And I found it really disgusting. And I can't be too open and blatant about it because it is his story, not mine. And he's not a part of this channel, so. But basically, it was like things to do with sex and sexuality. And I consider myself to be a pretty open person to a lot of stuff. I'm extremely liberal. But there are some things that just immediately, like, enrage me when it comes to sex. And when it comes to relationships. And, like, monogamous relationships. And, or even polyamorous relationships, I guess. But when it comes to relationships, I get really, really opinionated about it. And it seems to come from nowhere. It's not things that I've thought about before. Like, oh, this is how I feel about this issue. It's just like in the moment, suddenly I'm like, ugh, expelling this like anger and disgust. And then afterwards I'm alone and I think, holy crap, like, why did I respond that way? I didn't know I felt that way about this. Why do I feel this way about this? But then it feels too, like your heart is beating, your blood pressure's rising, and it just, even when I'm alone, it feels like too much to think about. I'm like, no, God, this is pissing me off. I can't even think about it. I'm disgusted. It's disgusting. And I get that strong of a reaction. And so obviously I think if you have something that strong of a disgusting reaction to something, you know that there's something there that you need to work through. And so the issue for me was like basically selling yourself short sexually. I find that really disgusting. Like, in the sense of like having sex with someone that you're not attracted to for some other reason, to get something from them, or to make yourself feel desirable, or because you're just really horny and you want to have sex with someone and you're desperate and this person will accept you because they are not someone that you're normally attracted to, but you'll bypass it to have just to have sex. Like, that's disgusting to me. Now, I will say that I've totally done that, and it's not something that I'm super proud of at all. But I think a lot of us have done things like that, especially men. I mean, men and their relationship to sex is totally different from women's most of the time. So, anywho, I think that it's just disrespectful to the person, and it's so disrespectful to you, and it makes you value yourself so little when you kind of just give away sex without it having something behind it. I'm not against like hooking up with people and like promiscuity. Like, that's fine. I don't care about that. It's just know that you're doing it and be honest with yourself. Be like, I just want this sex. It's not about the emotional connections. That's fine. But just be honest and know that that's why you're doing it. Don't weave this lie about, oh, I'm doing it because of this and that, and I'm doing it for like drugs, or I'm doing it for just because I really just I like to have sex, when really you may be doing it again like for drugs, or you may be doing it to punish yourself. You may be only having sex with people that you deem undesirable as a form of punishment. That's just so disgusting to me. And yeah, it's something that I've really struggled with. Like, how do you get past disgust? Because it almost comes out as a form of judgment, on the other person. And I mean, really, who are we to judge other people? And I think that is that's the path to coming to terms with your disgust, working through your disgust, releasing your disgust about certain topics and situations and people and stuff, is understanding, truly putting yourself in their shoes and understanding where they came from, like their upbringing and the things that they were taught, the morals and values and ethics that they were taught, and realizing that they may not be the same as yours at all. Maybe they weren't taught the same way you were. They weren't taught that the same things were taboo, or they weren't taught the same ethics. Maybe they weren't taught ethics. And then realizing where they went in life. Like, you may have stayed on a very safe path, and they may have went and really put themselves out there and went to a really crazy place in life and put themselves into dangerous situations. And so they're going to respond differently. Also, people have different ways of thinking and different ways of reacting. And basically, I think that disgust comes in when something doesn't fit what you think is correct and right. But, I mean, who the fuck are you to say that? Who are you to say, that's disgusting because I don't agree with it and because that's not what I would do? Well, okay, I don't care. Like, I'm not sharing this with you for you to, for me to see if I fit in with what you deem okay. Like, F you. So you see, like, the ego and control and arrogance and ego, control, and arrogance, they all come into it. Disgust, just like I said, it's an infection. I feel like it spreads over everything. It taints everything. It can taint your view of that person afterwards and keep you from forming a really intimate relationships with people. And I think for me, in a pagan's perspective of how I've dealt with my disgust, is I've done a lot of ritual where I've created a visualization. Like, it's all out of imagination for me. I close my eyes and I lie down. Sometimes I walk around and kind of visualize. But I get into a very quiet place, usually in my magic room, and I imagine myself becoming that person. I look at my hands and I see their hands. I look at my legs, I see their legs. I imagine clothing of theirs that I'm wearing. Sometimes I actually will wear their clothing. If that's creepy, oh well. And this is all with permission, of course. I wouldn't just take someone's clothing. But I will do everything I can to kind of transmute my aura into a sense of what I perceive as their aura. And so once I feel like I'm really inhabiting their essence, I proceed to, and again, this is all with my imagination. Like I'm consciously creating the visualization. I kind of just take a stroll down the street in my mind, in their body, and kind of live a day in their life. I literally kind of walk a mile in their shoes and see what it's like from their point of view, from their perspective, having, knowing what I know about the person, like how they respond to things, what their likes are and dislikes, the kind of people that they enjoy being around, music, places they like to go. I put myself in these situations and see how they respond. And it's really surprising how easy it is to really put my whole self aside and live in this person's state, in those visualizations. I really don't. It's like my disgust is removed in that moment. So I may be doing things that I don't agree with at all in the visualization, but I don't feel that way when I'm doing them in the visualization because I'm living in their self, not in mine. Again, that might sound far-fetched, but it's really simple and really easy to do, and helps kind of expand your awareness, and increases your sympathy and empathy and compassion for said persons or people or things or whatever when you understand where they came from. When you understand where they came from, I think it really helps you understand the choices that they created for themselves and the choices that they made for themselves and the way that they responded to choices that were put upon them. Disgust leads very quickly to shame. And I'll probably make a different video about shame, so I won't go into it really in depth. But disgust is, on the one hand, a signal to say, hey, maybe you need to leave this situation. Maybe you need to get out of there. So I think we should definitely listen to our disgust, because sometimes it's telling you to be safe. It's kind of a warning signal. It's like, hey, this might not be a safe area for you. Go away. So in that sense, listen to your disgust. But if disgust comes up with something else that you know that you can't leave, or that you don't want to leave, well, I don't want to leave this situation or this person or this thing behind. I still want it in my life. I value it because of all of these reasons. And I encourage you to make a list. When you feel disgusted about something or someone, make a list about everything that you like about that thing or person and what they give to you. Not what you give to them, what they give to you. So list everything that they give to you and how they nurture you, and then list the said thing that disgusts you. And then on black and white paper, see, or color if you're into that, but on paper, see how that adds up. Does it really matter now that you're disgusted by something they did 20 years ago? When right now, like 5 minutes ago, they did all of this for you and nourished your soul in this way? Maybe you need to get the fuck over it. So disgust. Explore your disgust. I guess that's it, you guys. There's just disgust. This is huge for me right now. And so I might make another part to disgust, who knows, as I come to understand it more and work through my particular situation with disgust. Which is feeling disgusted about behaviors that my boyfriend did a long time ago. Like, that's stupid. It's ludicrous. So anywho, I hope this was helpful. And I hope that wherever you are, you're well. And I hope that you're happy. And I hope that whatever dark emotions may come over you, you come to a place of understanding with them. Because we can't really get rid of our negative emotions. We just come to understand them. And in doing so, we come to a level of peace and coexistence with them. Namaste and Ashe. Peace out.